Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Western Conference Wednesday. An RFA actually decided to stay in Calgary this time around. We're going to talk about John Klingberg and his expectations in Anaheim, as well as some of our favorite jersey rankings. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On NHL.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jess Belmosto, host of Locked On Calgary Flames, on another edition of Western Conference Wednesday, and I am joined by Locked On Oilers host Brett Holden. Brett, how are you doing today?
Aloha, I'm not too bad. I'm a little sore, but it is what it is. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Red Sox did some stuff at the trade deadline, and I'm just satisfied, I guess. I don't really have any other words. As a baseball fan yourself, we'll jump into the hockey in a second, but how did your team do?
I'm a Dodgers fan. I guess I'm wearing the Dodgers jersey, so we didn't really do our shirt. We didn't really do too much. We didn't. We have more guys coming off the IL, which is our addition. But I'm also Canadian, so everybody cheers for the Jays. So we got Whit Merrifield. We got Mitch White from the Dodgers as well. So, it wasn't too bad. Could have been better. Could have been worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't Juan Soto.
Yeah. I think that was kind of everyone's hope that their team would be in contention, but of course it is San Diego.
Only one team.
Speaking of slam dunks, the Calgary Flames and Andrew Mangiapane avoided arbitration, which I always think is a good thing because it's less potential for animosity and bad blood there. Andrew Mangiapane agreed to a 3-year, $17.4 million contract announced Tuesday night, and thank goodness that he just signed the deal. I'm very happy. And as an Oilers fan, how does this go over for you? How do you feel about this?
I'm honestly taking a look at the AAV and the money, and I'm going, wow. I mean, Mangiapane, I know he scored, 35 goals last year, and had a very strong, especially start to the season, kind of tapered off in the middle of the year, and you kind of take a look, and you're like, he shores up that second line for the Flames, and makes their top six a little more tolerable with Tkachuk and Gaudreau both leaving as well. So you take a look at that aspect, and you're like, okay, well, from afar, it's what the team needed. But I mean, he's the second highest second highest paid forward, on the Flames. He's your second line center or second line winger,
Your timeline.
Is that really is that a good move? Do you think is that too much? It seems like it was too much for a guy that there was almost talk about him being moved at the deadline. No.
Yeah, so I think that the money it's weird because the Flames never wanted to pay someone more than they paid their captain Mark Giordano before he left. So that's kind of why I would say the forwards were quote unquote underpaid. It looks like a cheap deal in comparison to other teams, which is kind of where I take a look at it. But I do think after one solid season, that is a lot to commit to. But again, he's one of those players who is 26 years old, who is entering that prime of their career. And really, the 3 years kind of throws me off a little bit because his agent said at the beginning of last year he didn't want to sign a 1 or a 2 year deal. Mm-hmm. So I guess you sign a 3-year deal, which I understand because the Flames are in a weird position right now. You don't know whether you'll be contending or not, but the money does seem like a lot, especially for a player who bounces between the second and third line. And not that there's anything wrong with that, obviously, but $6.3 million, I think it is. That is a lot of money to have tied up in, a potential third line forward. I mean, you look at what you're paying Sean Monahan with the $6.3 million, and he's your fourth line center if he comes back healthy. So I think the Flames, did themselves a favor here by making it still a sort of team-friendly contract. I think that if he continues to come out of the gate the way that he did and has a successful, steady, continuous season with goal scoring and his defensive ability, if they do have to move him, any team would be like, okay, that it's a lot easier to take on that kind of a contract versus Lucic is almost like $7 million.
Yeah, sorry about that. But that's a good point because I mean, if you are it's 5.8, like that. It's 5.3. That's the thing. Like 5.3, like for me would have been a little more tolerable. I mean, 5.8 when it's just basically a couple $100,000, not chunk change.
Some taxes.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's what they're for. But you're right. If throughout these next 3 seasons, he can keep up even a 30 goal pace, not 35, even almost a 25, 30 goal pace. That contract looks pretty decent, especially for a guy who's not necessarily going to be on your top line. Like you mentioned, he can bounce down to this third line with his defensive ability. You can trust him to go out there in pinch moments because he does have that defensive ability, that two-way aspect to his game. And then on the flip side, he can go out there and score an important goal for the Flames as well. So if he does play or put up the numbers at least or produce the way that he did last season, 5.8 doesn't look too bad, especially like you said, if they look to move him in the future, other teams will be looking and going, oh yeah, okay, sure, why not? We'll take that on.
Definitely. And I think like one of the things is I jokingly call it like the inflation of overpaid forwards or really any defenseman, like defensemen who make $11 million. I think that like even 10 million. And again, this isn't a knock to like them. This is just how the game is evolving compared to, when younger players sign those early contracts and then they're up again and whatever. But, I feel like $5.8 million is not it's a lot of money. I wouldn't complain if I made that money, but I feel like with the salary cap increasing over, I think it's like $10 million over the next 2 years, they're going to look at that 5.8 and be like, okay, we can take that on, or we're all set. We can go higher. I don't know. Again, I'm not a numbers person. I spend my money. I don't look at it.
That's why that 5.3 and $5.8 million are pretty. We take a look at those numbers. We're like, ooh, okay, pretty numbers. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I feel that. No, again, I think the signing also allows the top 6 for the Flames to really shore itself out. Again, their top 6 as of right now is Huberdeau, Lindholm, and Toffoli, and Mangiapane, Michael Backlund, and Blake Coleman as of right now as well. I think there are still some tweaking that could be done, maybe not necessarily to the top 6, but to the team in general. There's a lot of cap space still to go around, if I'm not mistaken. You would know better than me on that, but I mean, there's a
good chunk, and
there's a good chunk.
10 defensemen under contract.
And that's the other thing now, too, is like I saw your tweet yesterday saying that they have 10 defensemen with one-way contracts on the team right now. So that kind of makes me interested, especially after this Mangiapane signing, as to what is going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually going to dive more into that today on Locked On Flames because I like to play mind games and like think I know what general managers and coaches are doing, and 9 times out of 10 I'm right, but right now I don't know. I truly have no idea, and it's fun to speculate.
Yeah, normally people say you sound crazy when you're saying that all these things are going to happen, then you happen to be right, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh well, no.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I again, I'm okay with Mangiapane. I like I'm okay with the money. I've been a big Mangiapane guy since basically earlier the start of this season, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Any final thoughts on Mangiapane before we move on to the big fish down in the pond?
Yeah, I will say I have been like a Mangiapane, like I don't know, like going so hard for him since I started covering the Flames.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like going through the roster and seeing his name and saying this kid's young. He is going to break out. And he has. So, you're all welcome for that.
You're welcome for those 35 goals, Calgary.
I scored them myself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we shall move on from up north into a little pond down south in California, as that little pond happens to have a lot of money to make a big splash. And that big splash was on John Klingberg. We will talk about John Klingberg and how he is basically expected to be deployed down in Anaheim in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about our partners over at BetOnline. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all of your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for all your odds, lines, and games this season. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, even golf. And I have a feeling that all those Major League Baseball lines are probably going to be moving a little bit after that trade deadline, because I think the Padres are going to get some favorable votes here coming up with the Juan Soto deal.
Absolutely.
BetOnline continues to be the top online source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting, in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Where we are going to move on to, though, is down south, as mentioned. Well, south for me, I guess. I shouldn't keep saying down south, but they're the southern part of America, I assume. That's kind of what I'm going for, the southwest, and that's where Anaheim is. That's where Disneyland is, and that is where the Honda Center is, where the Anaheim Ducks play out of. And the newest Anaheim Duck is John Klingberg, after signing a 1-year, $7 million contract down there. Quite the money for 1 year, kind of big. So I've seen people say that this isn't really a betting on himself type contract. There's been a little bit of a tumultuous feel, I guess, around John Klingberg since his trade request, it was a trade request, hoping that he gets a bigger contract, and now he gets this one. Jess, how are you feeling about the deal, and what do you think Anaheim is planning to do with John Klingberg?
I would say that Klingberg is going to be their guy, their defenseman, like their #1 guy that you're deploying on special teams, 5-on-5, whatever. I think it's funny that you're paying him $7 million. Again, I also am okay with the Flames paying Mangiapane $5.8 million. So, again, numbers are numbers to me. But it's a 1-year deal. And to me, that's what kind of makes me scratch my head. He's not young and he's not super old. He's kind of right in the middle there. And I'm perplexed. I think that he's going to come in and be a good leader for the team, but looking at his metrics, I don't know what the Ducks are doing with their defensive core. I don't.
Really? Why not?
I feel like it's just not strong enough. I don't know. I could be very wrong. The only time I really watch the Ducks are when they play the Flames or the Bruins, but I feel like there's still room for improvement.
Mm-hmm. They're young.
They are young.
They are very young. As of right now, per daily face-off. So don't get on me if these aren't the lines, people. It's daily face-off. But per daily face-off, they have the defensive core right now is a pairing of Cam Fowler and Jamie Drysdale as the top pairing. Euro Vakanainen will be paired with John Klingberg, allegedly. And Simon Benoit also on that defensive core. That's where I kind of get nervous, is Benoit being the sixth defenseman. With Kevin Shattenkirk, though, you take a look at that right side on for the Ducks. Jamie Drysdale, John Klingberg, Kevin Shattenkirk. Shattenkirk had a quietly solid season last season. Jamie Drysdale's coming into his own. I'm kind of on the opposite side of this spectrum here. I'm taking a look at the Anaheim Ducks, and I think they could be a quietly good team. I'm taking a look at their cap friendly right now. They still have a bunch of cap space still. They're currently sitting with $18 million in cap space right now. They just signed, obviously, John Klingberg, Ryan Strome as well. They still have Adam Henrique. Frankie Vetrano's there now. Isaac Lundestrom, I haven't even mentioned Trevor Zegras. Mason McTavish will probably make the jump again at some point. That's just their forwards now with their D. We mentioned their D as well. The Simon Benoit is kind of where I'm like, but I mean, they just brought in Ole Levy as well. They have, I think Dominic Moore, I think is the name I'm looking at. And Olin Zellweger as well, I think will be a quiet name that might be a late cut for the Anaheim Ducks. He's a Canadian boy. He plays down in the WHL, if I'm not mistaken, with the Kelowna Rockets. I might be wrong on that, but a very solid defenseman, a great two-way defenseman. He can shoot the puck. I think a defense with him and Jamie Drysdale in the future will be very solid for the Anaheim Ducks. Plus, they still have John Gibson that people seem to forget about. Very solid goaltender. He's very good. And Anthony Stolars is a very serviceable backup as well. I think depending on how they get the starts on, you got to gel with this team. It's a young team still. But, I mean, you take a look at John Klingberg. You really bring in a nice veteran presence. He is that Hampus Lindholm kind of replacement. He's
that is true.
29 years old right now, so I mean, he'll be 30 once the contract is done. We'll see if he's proven himself enough for another bigger contract. He had 41 assists last year alone, so you know there are positives here. I really hope Anaheim can figure it out, but you know it's a big contract still.
Yeah, and I think what gets me is that Vakanainen has just had a very unlucky start to his career with concussion after concussion after concussion. And I remember when he was in the AHL with the Providence Bruins, I was covering that team, and I was just so frustrated for him and just saying, like, you have the potential. Maybe not in Boston, but in another organization that has like some space available for you, you could absolutely be a top 4 defenseman. And I hope that it works out for him, but that's just another big question mark I have.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. There's a lot of question marks around Anaheim.
Absolutely. And I think, did they get better? Yeah. Will they? Because they had that run last season where, they were competitive. They were in a playoff spot, but they weren't able to sustain it, which, I mean, no one thought that the Kings were going to be able to make the playoffs either. And
they took the Oilers to 7.
Yeah.
Like they were a tough out for the Edmonton Oilers. And a lot of that comes down to coaching, and I don't want to bag on it too much. It is a former Oilers coach, and I don't want it to seem personal, but Dallas Eakins isn't good with young talent. I'm sorry to say, but he isn't. He probably cost Nail Yakupov his NHL career because of his stubbornness, and in using him, he just puts way too much expectations on players, young players, and now you have one of the best young players in the league who the league loves to market. I sit there and sometimes get notifications on my phone going, Trevor Zegras is on TV right now, and I'm like, I'm in Canada. I don't get the Ducks, but like it's easy to market them. It's easy to market Anaheim. I mean, just down the road. Well, not down the road. There, you got to take a freeway, and then you're down the road on Disney Way. The Disneyland is in the same area as well.
And you have Mike
Why not?
Trout, Shohei Ohtani.
Bingo! There you go. Might as well go down the freeway as well and catch a couple Dodgers games too.
Yeah, right. Just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. It's an easy little trip, and the NHL loves to market it. I think Dallas Eakins needs to figure out how to use these young players. He's going to have Mason McTavish coming in next year. And like you said, Vakanainen hasn't had a great start to his career. He needs somebody to help him there. Klingberg will certainly help, but I'm not sure how much Dallas Eakins will help. Seems a little personal, I know, but it's just coming from...
You're not the first person to say that, though.
Well, I'm not. I'm sorry to say. I don't want to toot my own horn, but even people we've talked to have mentioned just how much Dallas Eakins has hindered certain people. So that, I think, is another thing to take a look at for the team. You can have all the talent in the world. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers had, 4 first overall picks on their team when Dallas Eakins was here, and guess what? They picked Connor McDavid the next year, right? So a lot goes into it.
Absolutely. And I think that they'll definitely be a sneaky team in the Pacific. I'm not really sure what Vegas is going to do, but we don't have to talk about Vegas today because that's not on our list. But coming up next, we are going to talk about jerseys, because who doesn't love a good jersey? And with the reverse retros coming out, I know, if you're watching on YouTube, Brett's background is quite literally just jerseys.
I love my jerseys.
I can tell. And next season, we have round 2 of reverse retros, and we make our predictions as to who could have the best and the worst. All right. Yesterday when we were plotting our content, we were like, there's nothing. There's nothing to talk about. So, but thankfully, Mangiapane signed. But you know what? Jerseys are always here, and they're always great to talk about. So I figured we're doing reverse retros, right? And thinking who could have the best and who.
Oh, yeah.
Club.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Where do you want to start? Bottom or top of the list?
Let's go bottom. I think it's easier to go bottom to the best, because then the best are the best to talk about. I think the worst are going to be the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yep.
I don't think they stayed retro so long that I think that the reverse ones aren't going to be nice. It seemed like they were almost ashamed of their jersey last time around when the reverse retros came out. They didn't show the logo. They strayed away from any of the promotional stuff, and I just don't think that they're going to really have their heart into it. And it seems like Chicago might have a couple other things to worry about. So I don't see them having a nice jersey for the reverse retros.
100%. I have Chicago and Vegas as kind of tied for my bottom, because I really, like you said, Chicago has other things on their plate that they have to worry about right now. And with their jersey, there's so much backlash that I feel like I don't know if they know how to execute something properly.
Totally. No, totally. You're right. And that's a good way of putting it, is just like the execution of it. I just don't think they don't have the team around it to do it. Next, in the 15th worst spot, I have, you know what? I'm going to put the Nashville Predators.
Okay.
I've never liked really their colors. The only time I got a jersey of Nashville was their navy blue one, and it's because of Jordan Tutu. So it was more sentimental than the team. I've never liked their colors. Maybe if they go back to the navy blue, it might be all right. But I don't know. It's always kind of kept a bad taste in my mouth.
I have the Blues.
Ooh.
While I love their primary colors, I don't know how or what you can do. Again, I'm not a graphic designer, but how you could execute another jersey. I think that they did a great job with their state flag last time. So,
Right.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
See, you get the state flags and stuff. I didn't realize that's what that was. I only really get the California one. I'm like, there it is.
I only knew that because I quote tweeted it with a bunch of question marks and was like, what is this? And then somebody from Missouri was like, that's our state flag. And I was like,
oh, and I bet they were very upset about that.
Yeah, they were not happy with me. I was like, okay. What's going on there?
My 14 spot, I have. I'll also put the St. Louis Blues there. I liked the red. I thought it was decent. I don't know. I think there will be better ones. I'm just taking a look at all the teams. I'm like, I think this team can do a better one. I think this team can do a better one. So I'm going to put tentatively St. Louis here for now.
I have the Preds in my next spot.
There we go.
Because we saw their Stadium Series jerseys. And that made me lose all faith in any sort of design team in Nashville. And I don't know what you can do with that color combination to make it more attractive. And this is coming from someone who owns a Preds jersey as well. So we'll see.
It's not a pretty color. I'm sorry. I just don't like that color. It's not nice. I am, for my 13th spot, I'm going to Texas. I'm going with Dallas.
I have to.
Yes, there we go. It's just like, if their last one was so bad, their logo now is so bad. I mean, they're old, like they're like 2000s jerseys were the best. They were mint. So if they can go with that and find a decent way to bring in the reverse retro scheme into it, then I'm totally here for it. Totally here for it. But it's a matter of if, and that is the major issue. That if you're going into one of these design things with more ifs than we can, then I that's where I'm sitting with Dallas.
Yeah, 100%. I just, again, just the design team. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
Even like the prototypes that they came up with for the new jerseys that they have now, like these, I can't even say that I like these jerseys either, but some of the other ones that they had made. Whoa.
Yeah. Sometimes they just take a wrong turn.
Yeah, down Albuquerque, that's for sure. 12. Are we at 12? I think we're at 12. Are we at 13? Yeah, 12. There we go. I bounced somebody from my bottom, so I'm now like a little messed up here. But I have San Jose.
Okay.
I don't like their new colors. I like their old teal, like the old like really green one.
Yeah.
These ones are too ocean, not even oceany. Well, yeah, kind of oceany. It's just too much almost. It's too pretty. So if they can get back to their old teal, I guess I would be okay with it. It kind of like the Mike Ricci days of those like really like you could tell that was early 2000s, like late 90s type feel.
That.
Yeah, me too. So
my favorite.
Oh, they fit well with the black piping too, really helps. So that's what I like from them. I hope they can go back to that, but I don't have a lot of promise. I think they'll stick. They'll probably do something similar to that, but they'll probably have the colors that they have now, I assume.
But if they want money, then they'll do the regular, like you're the old ones.
Yeah.
I have Seattle next.
Ooh.
And not because I don't trust their color scheme or anything like that, but because I don't know how you can be in your second season and a reverse retro. It was kind of like when everyone was like, how is Vegas going to do a reverse retro? At least they had a few years under their belt. Seattle has one season. And I don't know. I'm sure it'll be gorgeous, but I'm just not sure right now how you do a reverse retro for a baby team.
They should bring out all the old like prototypes that they did, and they should choose one. And they're like, "This is what we could have been." I don't know.
That would be sick. Just like a giant squid.
Yes.
On
Ooh. Ooh, I dig it. Okay,
Yeah,
all
but you
right.
can compensate me for that idea. You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. At the 11 spot, are we at 11?
Yeah.
I've completely. So again, I messed this up now. I'm taking a look at it, but that's okay. I have the Vegas Golden Knights. I didn't think that I didn't like the red. I'll be honest with you. Or no, they did the golds, right? Was the
They
gold?
did the gold, but they had
the
red
gold
in
one.
it, I think.
That's right. That's right. You know what? The golds were all right, but it's just too much gold. And now that they have that as their homes, what are they going to make their old thirds the reverse retros? Like, you kind of fall into that Seattle trap, like you said. Just like, what can you do, right? So that's kind of why I have them a little bit in the middle of the pack. It's just kind of what can they do type thing. It seemed like they already kind of not swung and missed, but they swung for the fences with the first one. Now the first one's done, and now everyone's like, okay, now what? Yeah.
I am gonna catch some heat here, but it's the Oilers.
Oh.
I really, 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 really think that anything that they put out is going to look better on the ice because their predominant colors are so bold. I don't think it would just look good on my computer screen. So I give them that. And I think that's what takes away from it for me because I want to be able to look at this jersey and be like, that is beautiful. But I don't know. That's just.
But you didn't like the third ones. You don't like the third ones that they have now.
No.
See, I'm all in. I am all in on those. I have a theory. Okay. I have a theory. Do you like the Oilers, like the old cogged one, the one that looks like kind of like a comet? You like that one?
Yeah.
And you don't like the blue one?
No.
See, okay, that completely throws my theory because I always thought people who like the comet like the new black ones, and now you're the first one that doesn't like or likes the old ones but doesn't like the new ones.
I don't know what it is. I just think the first time that I saw it, it reminded me of something you would find at like a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's. I don't know if you guys have those up there, but just like a knockoff.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately why.
Yeah, I hear that. Up to number 10. And I'm going to go with the Minnesota Wild. I like their colors. I think because they did the throwback to the Minnesota North Stars with their last one, which was a hit. That was one of the cleanest ones that were there. But now what? You kind of blew your shot on the last one. So now what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that they could get funky and go a totally different creative route, but I get that. I do get that. I have Vancouver.
Oh.
Because, again, they really nailed it with that last jersey, but they were reverse retro. And I don't know what you do now. And I think, the flying skate holds so much love in Vancouver fans' hearts.
Oh, yeah.
And the color combination there, it was so beautiful. I love the black. It was basically the same thing as the Flames. But the black, the white, the yellow, and the red, those colors together are just really nice. And I don't know how you top that.
See, that's a cult classic up here, man. Those are like you see people walking around with hats with that logo on it, like everywhere, like jerseys. Everybody really likes that one. I always thought it was kind of a pukey color, so I wasn't real big, but I get the lore basically. So I'm behind that. I'm here with that. My next one, I have the Los Angeles Kings. Can they go with the purple scheme? Yes, and I hope they do, like that really old purple scheme, the purple and yellow. I think that they should and would look beautiful. but I don't know if they will. I really don't know if they will. I could see them going back to like their like 2000s logo with the crown, which also is a fantastic logo, but I don't know. I want those old colors. I love the old purple and yellow.
Yeah, I have them in that same spot, basically for the same reason. I don't know what you do. I don't.
They got a history. They got a subtle history, I think, with the LA Kings. Next spots I have, and I think this one rose a little higher than it should have, maybe, but I have the Winnipeg Jets. They can really do it the right way if they want to. And that's a matter of if they want to. Every single time a Jets jersey or Jets branding thing has come out, I've had so much hope, and then I've just been like,
yeah,
I get it, I guess, but yeah. So I'm just hoping that this is the one that they just figure out. They get the old colors right. You get the old nostalgic feel, and that's why I kind of have them down here, because if they do it right, it can be one of the nicer ones, but they just have to do it right.
I have them in the same spot, mainly because I think what they should do is go with that Atlanta Thrashers blue.
Ooh.
Something like that. I would I love that color.
Mm-hmm.
And it would look so good. Even if they just stick with their regular current logo and just make their jerseys like that powdery blue.
Sure.
I'll buy it. I don't care.
Sure. They should make like the jet like the Thrasher was.
Yeah.
Let's go. Why are we not making jerseys?
Right? Exactly. This is what we need to be doing.
What are we doing? Alrighty, the next one I'm going with the Seattle Kraken. I love their colors. Their marketing has been fantastic so far. I think it's tough. They have, like you said, you don't know what they can do. For me, I'm kind of on the other side where it's like they can do whatever they want. Like they can introduce a whole new different color if they wanted to, just because, like they don't have that history for the reverse retro, so why not make it a little funky or different? So I'm kind of excited by that. It's kind of a reverse of the Winnipeg Jets, or basically the Dallas Stars as well, where I've been impressed with everything the Kraken have done so far as a team, so I can't see them messing this up. Knock on wood.
Right. I have the Coyotes next.
Ooh.
Because I think that they absolutely can do anything. But I think they have history as well. And they have room to be funky and go with, I love their purple jerseys. I loved those in the last reverse retros. I thought that was sick. I would love to see them just go full Southwest Aztec, just really hone in on the culture down there. I think that would be really awesome.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm with you there. I'm happy they came back to the Kachina feel.
Yeah.
Next, I think we're in the top 6 here, so we're closing it out. My 6th spot is going to be the Colorado Avalanche. They killed it with the Quebec Nordique look. It was so beautiful. It was probably the best of all of the reverse retros. But now what?
Right.
Now what do you do? Do you just straight up go back to the Quebec Nordiques, have your colors on it instead? I don't know. I'd be okay with that. But it's just a matter of, okay, you kind of made the best of the best.
Yeah.
Now can you back it up? I'm not 100% sure. But they've always had nice colors down in Colorado.
I think that's probably where I'm going with that too, because like you said, they can switch up the colors. But Colorado does have really clean jerseys as it is. Yeah. So I don't know how much. I mean, they're so creative and everything down there. So I have hope for them, and I really think that it could be so exciting. Just to, do they just design a whole new logo?
And I could see a mend almost, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know. I think that they have some really creative people throughout their entire organization who could make something work.
Totally. I agree. Top 5 here, and my number 5, I am going with the Vancouver Canucks. I'm coming up north. I think they can just do so many good things and so many things well. Like you mentioned, they have the old vintage colors that they can lean back on, those ugly, when I say ugly in a good way, type jerseys as well. But I like their current color scheme too. So if they were to do a mend of the old version with new colors or new version with old colors, I think they could like anything that they could do would look very nice and almost be another cult classic for Vancouver. So I think they could do a lot of really good things in Vancouver.
Absolutely. I think that would be, I don't know, I love Vancouver. And I love how just innovative they've gotten and how, I don't know. I think it's pretty neat.
Top 5.
I have the Sharks.
Ooh, there it is.
Yeah, I have the Sharks because of that early nostalgic 90s, 2000s teal, and I think that they could just do anything with those colors and it will sell. But I also really liked their last reverse retro, if I'm remembering it correctly. I think that they just need to go all in with the teal, with the old colors.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just either commit or don't. No, I agree. Those old ones, the ones last whenever they came out, those were really nice. You are right. Alrighty, top 4, and I'm going to Arizona. I'm going south. I'm going down into the desert. I'm going to Arizona. You just can't go wrong with the Kachinas. Whatever you do, I hope I'm not jinxing it, but those are, you just can't go wrong. What else can you say? Those are the best logo design, jersey design I've seen in potentially pro sports. I think you just can't go wrong there. That's all I'm going to add. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I don't know how I messed this up, but I'm already on number 3.
Oh, are you on 3? I might have messed this up.
I don't know. I think it's because we had like the same jerseys, multiple, like ranked at the same spot. That's why I'm further.
Oh, you know what it is? You had 2 tied at the bottom.
That's right. That makes sense.
Yeah, there we go. So should I just go with my number 3 then? Or should we, just to even it out, or 4?
Number 4. Give your number 4. Why not?
There we go. Okay. Oh, that was my number 4.
Okay. And you're on number 3. Okay,
there we go. Now we're on number 3. We talked this out. We're good. You go with number 3.
I have Anaheim.
Nice. Yes.
My top 3 was so hard to figure out because I really was going based off of last reverse retros, fan designs, and the potential. Yeah. And I just I loved Anaheim's reverse retros. I wish that I had gotten one. I want to see them do something that's maybe a little cleaner. Just one logo. It doesn't have to be like a whole cartoon strip going on. But I really think that they could, again, just nail it with this.
Completely. No, I'm with you right there as well. Number 3, I have Anaheim too. And like you said, it was so nice the last one. Obviously, you have the Mighty Ducks to fall on, and the Mighty Ducks are the best anything. Even probably I would go better than the Kachina. I love it. And you can go back. If they could go back to the old like purple and like turquoise and have the goalie mask too. Oh my goodness. Take my money. Take my money.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is my number 3. Number 2, Jess, who do you have?
Calgary.
Oh, number 2?
Yeah.
What?
I do, because I know last reverse retro Blasty was just chef's kiss. I loved it. I didn't get to get my hands on one, which was so upsetting, but it probably doesn't even matter because I probably would have gotten a Gaudreau one and just cried ugly tears when he left into it. Yeah. But I think that they have some of the best logos. and cleanest jerseys in the league. Even with their AHL team, they have like just such incredible designs, and it's simple, but you like get the story, if that makes any sense. And I would love to see them do, I don't know, just do not do the Heritage Classic ones. That's fine, please. But I give them a lot. I even think maybe I don't know if a gradient would work for them, but it does work for the number one team. So
I could see it. Yeah, no, I could see it. Number 2, I also do have Calgary. Also, nice shout out to the Calgary Wrangler jeans. I like it. But yes, I also have Calgary. Same thing. Lovely colors. You can't really go wrong with their color scheme unless they like really do it wrong intentionally, almost. So, Calgary Flames again, and that the Blassie logo. I always loved that growing up and getting like the old like Joe Nieuwendyk hockey cards and stuff like that. I always like getting those and stuff. But that is my number 2. Jess, it sounds like your gradient team is quite the jersey concept coming up. Who you got at number 1?
I have Minnesota.
Oh yeah, duh. There we go. Nice.
Yeah, I think so. There's someone in the Flames community they're doing like a groovy gradient series where they design jerseys, and Minnesota, it was like purple and black, but I would love to see them do something like a night sky on their logo, or something like with like the bear thing that they have going on. I think that they could really kill it with some sort of gradient, but not with the Subway colors.
You
have to go out of the box.
That's fair. No, I dig it. That's a nice one. My number 1, I haven't said them yet, but I think it's because they're getting back to that old Cog jersey. I think they're going to put a modern spin to it. And that old Cog jersey is one of the best things I've ever seen ever. And the number 1 is the Edmonton Oilers. Is it a cop-out? Maybe, but they can do it well. I like the Edmonton Oilers marketing team. I'll be honest with you. I think they're going to kill it. I'm so pumped about it. But that is my number 1 with the Edmonton Oilers. I have fun with that. You know, you kind of get a little creative, little imaginative. That's what the off season is all about.
Yes. Jess. You know, it's fun to, get in there and think of different ways that different teams can really bring a new creative spin to their team, and just bring back Blasty. That's fine. I love Blasty so much.
Totally.
But that about does it for today's episode. We did run a little long, but that's okay. We were talking jerseys, so I hope you stuck around for that. Who do you think will have the best reverse retro? Drop it down in the comments or leave it in one of the reviews and give us a 5-star rating. Brett, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me personally on basically any social media at The Real Holden 40, but you don't care about me. You care about the Oilers, and you can find Locked On Oilers on any streaming platform or your podcast platform that you get all your podcasts on. And you can also find us on YouTube at Locked On Oilers, just how it's spelled. Make sure you subscribe there. And Twitter is the exact same thing, Locked On Oilers. That's where you can find me. How about you, Jess?
You can find me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. The show is available on any streaming platform, and that is Locked On Flames. And the show's Twitter is LO_FlamesPod. And look forward to talking with y'all next week. Hopefully we have some more exciting.
We'll have arbitration news. That's
right.
News.
We will have some arbitration news, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what gets done. Nervous. Don't the Oilers have quite a few players going to arbitration?
We have Kyler Yamamoto, so here's the hoping. Yeah, we had JP, but that was dealt with.
Alrighty, everyone. We will catch you next week with arbitration news on Locked On NHL.